All right, welcome back to Fleck Stocks the Podcast, episode 204. Today on the show, Tim Walz's big debate with JD Vance is tonight. We'll tell you what to expect. Then, Democrats keep saying crime is down, even though we know it's not true. We'll debunk those lies. Then, in Cringe of the Week, we have some college kids who care too much about sports while their country falls apart. And last but not least, Brittney Griner claims racist slurs were yelled at a WNBA game. We'll tell you why that was made up. All this and more, it's Fleck Stocks the Podcast, episode 204, ranked the best new podcast of all time!
Because words are just words until action actually starts. And actions speak louder than words, but at the same time, words speak louder than actions because sometimes it's the right thing to do. Very cool. Very cool.
It's Fleck Stocks the Podcast featuring Richard Grab.
All right, one for one on the intro, as always. Guys, I want to tell you about a crime happening in the U.S. called house stealing, also known as title theft, where a criminal can transfer your home's title into their name with just a single document. Many of you know I live in Florida, which has become a hotbed for these crimes. Home Title Lock caught a thief from New York trying to sell a Sarasota family's property on a popular real estate website. The thief had fraudulently changed the title, but Home Title Lock quickly detected and restored the title back to the rightful owner. Without Home Title Lock, this could have been disastrous. These criminals can transfer your titles, take out loans, and absolutely wipe your equity. And if nobody's watching your title, they can get away with it too. That's why I chose to protect my parents' house with the triple lock protection to safeguard them from scammers. So whether you're a new homeowner or a longtime homeowner like my parents, you're at risk of becoming a victim of title fraud. Sign up today at HometitleLock.com or go to the link in the description and use code FLECKUS. You'll get your first 30 days of triple lock protection for free, and you'll even get a free home title scan to make sure your property isn't compromised already. That's 30 days free and a title report for using code FLECKUS. HometitleLock.com is the website. It's linked in the description. Thank you guys for sponsoring. Let's get into housekeeping. All right. Thank you to Home Title Lock for sponsoring.
Thank you, Home Title Lock.
Scams are at an all-time high. It's a good time to get that home title locked. All right. Hey, we're back. We missed Friday. Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry, guys. A little hurricane came through and lost a little power. And
power for a few days, Wi-Fi for the whole time, AC the whole time, but we are okay. I was going to make a joke about how I lost everything keto sauce in my refrigerator was.
The fridge was gone.
The fridge is gone. The meat fridge is gone. The freezer was sketchy. I'm keeping some of that meat, even though it may have gotten to room temp for a day or two. But yeah, people actually did lose everything, especially in the Panhandle and North Carolina.
Yeah, so it's not really hurricane bit time. We're not going to be dancing around doing bits. I know it's a podcast, but there are dead people and people floating around. People lost their entire house. People trapped in cars.
People are still missing.
Yeah.
Horrible stuff. Our refrigerator is the worst of it. Mm-hmm. So that's a blessing.
It was a little hot when we went to bed.
Yeah, it was a sweaty sleep for a few days. Someone left a comment on the YouTube we posted, and it actually kind of nailed the situation we're in.
They said, what a surprise. No episode because of a little hurricane. Pussies. JK, y'all stay safe and hope y'all got inland. Fleckus would be the guy who'd say, we'll stick it out and roll the dice on our lives. Seriously, though, y'all be safe, especially RRB.
That's what happened.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened.
I stayed. I risked my life. I kind of did some analysis. Thought I'd be okay. I was right. Mm-hmm. Rapboy took a little vacation in Orlando.
I went to Orlando. I was catching shrimp at a hibachi restaurant. I did indoor skydiving and saw the Blue Man Group. It was like, everything that Orlando has to offer. I got butter beer. I put on a Harry Potter hat. No, I'm kidding. I really didn't do any of that shit, but I did go to Orlando.
And you did catch a shrimp at a hibachi restaurant.
Yes.
Okay, let's get into the show. We have a packed show. We might go a little long today. There's an extra page of housekeeping, but we weren't here Friday, so if we go 10 minutes longer, we go 10 minutes longer.
No big deal.
All right, let's get into the first story of the day. North Carolina was hit the hardest by the hurricane, and then there was a levee that broke, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And towns got wiped. We have playing in the background just some B-roll of what it looks like. Roads are completely washed out. Entire towns are underwater, completely devastating. And we wonder what the relief is going to look like.
Yeah.
We gave like hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine. We spent $450 billion on illegal immigrants in the past year. We spent all that money on those wars for Israel.
It really gets real when something happens domestically. Where'd all the money go? All the money that we printed anyway. We didn't even have it. We printed it and we sent it abroad. And now people who are like just trying to get back to where they were in America are at a huge disadvantage. And it doesn't seem like the Biden administration and Kamala's continuing with campaign events and stuff like that. And
yeah, Kamala's in Vegas.
Doesn't seem to be an all hands on deck situation, despite thousands of, is what I think, thousands of people are dead.
Yeah.
You know, flash floods like that, it's inland. Florida people, they know. It's like, oh, I'll ride it out, or I don't think water's coming into my house. North Carolina, like a levee and a dam goes down and you're like, oh shit, a wall of fucking debris and water.
And a lot of those people don't have like hurricane insurance because it's rare enough, doesn't really happen. Flood insurance, it doesn't seem like we're gonna get flooded. Florida, obviously, it's different. And Kamala's in Vegas during this.
Yeah.
She's campaigning still. Joe Biden's asleep, taking a nap.
Vacation nap, one of the two.
Yeah, he's either on vacation or taking a nap on vacation.
Yep.
We actually have a text from a lineman, an electric lineman who's working in Asheville. Can you read that?
Yeah, it said, went up Old Fort Road where it connects to number 9. Whole area is gone. 100-foot ravine where houses used to sit. Kids walking around naked asking where their parents are at. People begging for water. Black Hawk helicopters from FEMA. I don't want to talk about the smell of the dead bodies. I'm in disbelief. So
horrible. Crazy.
War zone and all hands on deck situation, and Kamala's doing fundraisers and stuff. So
yeah, so absolutely devastating, and we're hoping FEMA does the right thing.
Yeah.
And keep in mind they didn't do the right thing with Maui. They didn't do the right thing with East Palestine when that train blew up. And now we're hoping they'll do the right thing in North Carolina. Can you read this tweet from Libs of TikTok?
In case you're wondering why the response to Hurricane Helene has been a disaster, FEMA's goal 1 is to instill equity as a foundation of emergency management. Yes, this is real.
It's
not goal 6. It's not goal 7. It's not on the back page like, oh yeah, and if we can, while also helping with emergencies. That's goal 1, baby.
Goal 1. So that's what we're dealing with when it comes to the emergency response.
So a trans, black, disabled person will be, take my hand, while they're rappelling down from a helicopter, saving you from the life-threatening situation.
And they can't pull you up.
Yeah. Wait, I don't have the upper body strength. We had equity.
I was hired for different reasons.
Yep.
And then there were some looters that were arrested. Can you read this? This was in Tennessee, but I think it's on the North Carolina border.
East Tennessee, yeah. So similar region. It said 8 people arrested following alleged looting in Washington County, Tennessee. And it's Jesus Leodon Garcia Pineda, Josue Barado Ortiz Valdez, Erci Ortiz Valdez. Those guys must be brothers. Albin Vega Rapallo. And here are the mugshots. They're all just opportunistic, migrant type, rat phenotype.
Yep. So when everyone's in trouble and everyone needs a little help from their fellow American, the Venezuelan rats will come and go through your shit and see what they can find.
Yeah, and again, that's one of the kind of class of 2023, class of 2024 migrants. I obviously don't know where all these guys came from, but Eastern Tennessee isn't really a Mexican stronghold or Hispanic.
It shouldn't be, and it looks like it might be.
But the point is, there's like this tendency, like, what can I take? What can I get? Ask not what I can do for America. Ask what America can give me, food stamp wise, whatever. And yeah, that's going to be the type of guy who goes and loots the local store, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well, let's get into our next topic, the debate tonight between Tim Walz and JD Vance. And apparently, Tim Walz is very nervous.
Yeah, he's a nervous guy. He's floppy.
He's like 60 years old, and he's like a man.
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
You're supposed to call him coach. He's like a football coach he likes to market himself as, but he gets a little nervous. He pukes before the game.
Yeah. Well, can you read the headline and then some of the context?
Heading into the vice presidential debate, Tim Walz is fighting nerves. Tim Walz is telling people he's just as nervous about facing JD Vance as he was the Sunday afternoon in August when he warned Kamala Harris in his running mate interview that he was a bad debater. Maybe more nervous, according to multiple people who've spoken to him.
Bad debater. That sounds something you want to lead with, and it's debate night.
Yep.
So this is going to be good content.
And it says, talking to the aides who have coalesced around him in Minnesota and other supporters, Walz constantly comes back to how worried he is about letting Harris down. So it's like he doesn't want to be the liability. He's a bad debater. He's nervous. He's going against JD Vance, who's like a Yale lawyer who's been sparring with ABC, CBS,
And he's like the lion from Wizard of Oz. Like, oh, I'm no good. You got to pick someone else.
Yeah, I can't do it. I don't know if I'll be able to. Gee.
This isn't a good idea. I should just get out of here.
Yeah, and then another piece from the article. It really is. And he's gonna do something floppy on stage too, let alone actually find the right words to combat policy with J.D. Vance, right?
They're not going to do any policy debates. He's just going to try to pin J.D. Vance to Trump's worst made-up things like January 6th, stuff like that, hateful rhetoric.
It's going to be soundbite debating. He's not going to try to spar on the facts. It's going to be like, well, how about January 6th? And then he looks to the crowd like bobbing his head.
Yeah, we've got to come together and the rhetoric.
And it's really just going to be a matter of whether or not the debate moderators let that happen. And Tim, the question was on inflation. And he's like, oh, Donald Trump and January 6th. So we'll see.
Charlottesville?
But
heard of that?
But as we've seen with all these debates, it's constantly like not answering the question or going to your pre-written soundbite. And we got a nervous, floppy guy hustling to a soundbite he thinks he has. I think we're in for something.
We're in for something for sure. And then, can you read that before we move on?
He said Walz is worried that he might come across as either a moron or a raging bull, or even an out-of-whack liberal vouching for another out-of-whack liberal. So, like, his worst fears, he's kind of like, he's verbalizing all these fears to his campaign aides, and I think that's pretty much what he is an out-of-whack liberal. Like, oh, Americans, mind your business. We don't care if that man wants to go to the bathroom with your daughter. Mind your P's and Q's.
Yeah, us Americans don't care about that. It's like, well...
That's kind of nuts, buddy.
All we care about.
Yeah.
And he's worried about coming across as a moron. And there's like a thing, too. We talked about this in the show a little bit, that he's kind of like the buffoon dad on TV show archetype.
Yeah, he's like the white dad in a commercial who's like, honey, I've left the stove on.
Mm-hmm. But then he's just doesn't have like a team of script writers that went to Harvard.
Yeah, the Modern Family people aren't writing the jokes for him. He has to do it on his own. So he's just in like a pie shop in Iowa being like, oh, gee, I'm incapable.
We actually have some, as we know, we've been claiming that Tim Walz is very floppy. We have some more floppy Tim Walz clips here.
We called this early, and it seems like everyone's critiquing him as well for being floppy. Like there's more evidence. Obviously, it's snowballed, but we were early on the floppy.
We were very early on floppy. Here he comes off the plane with his horrible wife. Look at him, going crazy
like that.
It's like, that wasn't so bad, right? Here he goes. He's losing his shit.
Just calm down, buddy. Right?
Very floppy, but maybe you look at that and go, that wasn't so bad.
It's within a margin of error, but...
He's just waving a little. He's excited. Who's he excited to see? I don't know. Maybe he knows those people.
Exactly.
But then we have him with Kamala and a few other things, Gretchen Whitmer.
Yeah.
And here's some more flopping. He does a kick. What? Who has a kick in their repertoire? You ever done a kick?
Who even has that tool in their arsenal? He's not a soccer player, Tim. And his hands are occupied. That's the thing. He's hands up, hands occupied. He had to flop, and so it came out with a kick, right?
His hands are stuck, and he had to get it out somewhere. So he's throwing kicks. He's like a Nathan Lane gay guy.
Yeah, he's birdcage.
Or like the fat gay guy from Modern Family.
Yeah, the really fat one. Fatter than you.
Definitely fatter than me. Well, and then he went to the... He went to the Michigan-Minnesota game. He's the governor of Minnesota.
Yeah.
He went to the Michigan-Minnesota game. Mm-hmm. He's cheering for Michigan. No one knows him. No one came up to him. Barely anyone came up to him. No one recognized him. No one cares. And then he's taking pictures. Look at it. Look at the hand.
He's limp wrist.
Literally limp wrist. And it's not like he caught him like for a second. He's raising it up.
Yeah.
Which is way different than the reception Trump got at the Alabama game.
Where they go crazy for him. He's in a box with his homies. He's demanding fish fillets. Filet of fishes, you know?
Like, go get some.
Tim Walz is flopping around. Nobody knows the guy.
Yeah, no one knows him. No one cares. But then also his ticket's going to get the most votes in presidential voting history.
Unless he botches the debate and lets down Kamala Harris, who's like her own... Imagine letting down the Kamala campaign. Her entire campaign is the media doing it for her. So...
And then they swap him for Michelle Obama.
And then it's 3 total swaps, because Michelle moves in for Kamala at the end.
Yeah, exactly. So they had they're eating the dogs because it was Alabama versus Georgia, which is pretty good. And then I have this not inside scoop, but it's a little bit of inside.
It's a hearsay scenario.
Allegedly, Tim Walz's former players that he coached, and he was the assistant coach, not even the head O-line coach. They used to call him Tim Sandusky, allegedly.
Yeah.
Why would someone call you that?
Well, if he was flopping around and he got a little too handsy with a couple of the O-linemen, he's like, here, you got to get used to the quarterback being under center. He gets all in there. But yeah, Tim Sandusky, if true, pretty damning.
If true, very damning. And then also, if they call him White P. Diddy, that would be very damning too.
I know, and we can't corroborate that at all. That was just made up right now by Fleckus, White P. Diddy, but it rings true.
Is the statement true that if they called him White P. Diddy, it would be pretty weird?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, that's just a fact.
Call it off, Tim. Call off the debate.
All right, so the limp wrist, we got that. There was actually, we missed this when the Olympics happened originally. There was a Tim Walz-inspired dance routine that someone did, and I don't know how we didn't show it. We have a clip here. So this guy's impersonating Tim Walz.
Yeah. That's literally what he'd do. If Kamala said something funny, he'd get on the ground and he'd do that flop. He'd do that full fish flop.
Oh, man. Hey, it's good to be back.
Yeah.
It's good to be back at the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Tim Walz, he appointed someone to the head of education in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And this is what the guy said in like a Zoom interview. And this is like who he's siding with. So he appointed this guy to the education department.
We're also sometimes lying on ourselves when people say like, oh, we use critical race theory in school. We don't use critical race theory in school. The first tenet of critical race theory is that the United States as constructed is irreversibly racist. So if the nation state as constructed is irreversibly racist, then it must be done with. It must be overthrown, right? And so
that's who Tim Walz aligns with and appointed to a position of power.
And remember how it's kind of been a theme on the podcast where we say HR or companies, they really gave a ton of ground in 2020. Like that 2020 thing, they were like, okay, we need a head of diversity and we need to hire a black man to be XYZ. Imagine that amplified by like 2 times, and then that's the state of Minnesota.
Yeah.
So, because like that's the nucleus of where it happened. So everything amplified probably by approximately 2x. And I like how he says he's talking to like this other black woman on the Zoom call, the BLM rhetoric Zoom call. And he goes, so America has to be dismantled, right? Like that's like a basic tenet of his ideology. And so that's who Tim Walz likes.
Yeah, that's who Tim Walz likes. You know how they call Uncle Toms black people who are sellouts to other black people? They call them Uncle Toms. Uncle Tim.
Uncle Tim.
Sell out to white people, Uncle Tim.
Yeah.
So
I think we've actually made that joke before.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's a good one. I thought I just thought it up. So Tim Walz is nervous, as he should be. He's out of control of his body.
Oh, we forgot to mention one thing. Remember Kamala when she was doing the prep with a guy who kind of looked like Trump and he was doing debate prep pretending to be Trump? Tim Walz is doing debate prep with Pete Buttigieg.
The whole time he's probably trying to keep his hands off him.
No, stop touching. Well, Tim Sandusky probably likes him.
Yeah.
Probably likes him.
They're not getting much work done.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All the things Pete Buttigieg is trying to get him to do to him.
Oh, sucking.
Disgusting.
Disgusting shit, yeah.
And Pete Buttigieg he's got a husband.
He's got a husband and two acquired babies, so.
Well, that's bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Tim Walz is nervous.
Yeah.
Maybe J.D. Vance is too. SNL went after J.D. Vance the other day.
Yeah.
And here they are. They played him with a gay Chinese guy. That must make J.D. Vance shaking in his boots.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. He must be rattled.
And J.D. Vance is the type of guy who just has the verbal acuity to, like, absolutely destroy people. He's a lawyer, Yale. Like, he's young. He's vibrant. Tim Walz is like a boomer, like, running on his old accomplishments. Governor of, like, a nice state. He's not going to...
That he gave away.
Yeah, he's not going to be used to being mauled or questioned on that type of
It's going to be
shit.
good. And then we're going to close out the Tim Walz debate section with a headshot of him
Look at this picture.
with the open mouth.
crazy.
That's not authentic.
He's like trying to be disarming or something. Hey, I'll never hurt you. Kamala's the president. It's not about me.
Let me hop in the shower with you guys.
Let me just get in the shower. I'll show you how to rub the soap.
Yeah, look at that. The open mouth, the non-authentic eyes.
Yeah, this is the type of picture you saw. If you saw on mushrooms, you'd go crazy.
You go,
demon.
That's a bad one. All right, let's get into some Kamala stuff.
Okay.
We have a lot of Kamala stuff. Remember when Kamala said she had a great plan for the economy that everyone was behind, Goldman Sachs, Wharton Business School?
Yeah.
This is the clip to remind you guys.
The best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit.
So she made that claim, and then we have these articles that say Goldman Sachs CEO says report that Harris is better for economy was blown out of proportion. And then the Wharton Business School shoots down Harris's claim that she'll strengthen the economy. So she just made that up.
Yeah, no pushback from the debate moderators at that point, though, right? It's just, okay, those are facts. That sounds pretty good. And it gets kind of swept under the rug a little bit later.
Exactly, as it always does. And then, obviously, with the whole campaign, a lot of people are wondering, like, why Kamala is making promises when she's already in power.
Yeah.
And then Joe Biden on The View the other day made a comment that kind of proves that she could have done this all along. She doesn't need to be elected.
And as vice president, there wasn't a single thing that I did that she couldn't do. And so I was able to delegate her responsibility on everything from foreign policy to domestic policy.
So she didn't do anything. And then the idea of change that she's running on was actually stuff that she did to us already.
Yeah.
So the change we need is the change from the old system, which she's the vice president of.
And the only reason we know is because of a slight dementia slip up on The View.
On a live recording of The View by the sleeping guy who took a break from vacation.
That's where we're at.
Which is interesting. And obviously,
expect some of those types of claims during the vice presidential debate as well, where you go, that doesn't sound right. And then 6 days later on this show, you'll hear the reason why it wasn't, right?
Exactly. And obviously, no one actually likes Kamala. Her favorability rating was in the dumps before she took the head of the ticket role.
Yeah, she was a bad VP in a bad administration, and people were kind of just like, oh, God, we're probably going to lose to Trump. Biden's horrible. And then something happened.
Something happened. Greg Price had a great tweet that summed it up. Can you read it?
Back in January, Kamala Harris' approval rating was 28%. It was 32% at the beginning of the summer. Today, it's nearly 50%. What changed? And obviously, it's just the media coverage.
Yeah, everyone's being nice to her.
They're propping her up. They're doing fake interviews. People are laughing at her jokes that should not land.
They brought her into the fold.
Yeah.
And that's the treatment you get. You get the propaganda treatment. And obviously, a lot of the voters are seeing through it. There was a tweet here that kind of sums up the voter registration numbers and how it's different between GOP and Democrat.
Yeah, well, it's from Gallup, and it says GOP overtakes Democrats in voter identification for the first time. A Gallup poll shows more Americans now lean Republican over Democrat, with 48% siding with the GOP compared to 45% with Dems. Voters trust Republicans more on key issues like the economy and immigration, seeing them as better at safeguarding prosperity and security. Just 22% are satisfied with the country's direction, and President Biden's approval rating has sunk to 39%. The economic index also paints a grim picture, highlighting widespread pessimism and poor conditions. And so this is for the first time in decades, more voters are identifying as GOP.
Which is great.
Yeah.
We'd love to see that. And we have some voter registration changes from November 2020 to July 2024. Republicans are up 393,000 voters. Democrats are down 3.5 million.
Yeah.
Independents, 1.8 million people are identifying as independent now. Democrats are down 3.5 million? That's a lot.
That's tangible. That's like statistically significant, as we say. Right?
Yeah, that's a huge swing. Democrats up 300,000, then 10x that down for Democrats. That's just all the votes they mailed in. That's just some of the votes they mailed in. It's probably some dead people who are now really, really dead.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are talking about the election, how it's going to play out electoral college-wise. It seems like it's going to all come down to Pennsylvania, which is why they didn't pick Shapiro as the VP. They need him there to help them cheat, allegedly.
That's fair. That's as alleged as it gets, boys.
Can you read this tweet from Zero Hedge?
Well, the election comes down to PA. It's the key battleground state. Split is Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Nevada, blue, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, red. Right now, PA fractionally for Kamala per poly market. Whoever wins PA wins the election.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
And that's why Democrats
and I think any number of those. Wisconsin could easily go red.
Yeah.
You know, Michigan. Like
It'll be a combo
Nevada,
of these swing states. Yeah.
Nevada and Wisconsin more likely, right?
But if they can steal Pennsylvania, that'll very much help them. And that's why the Democrats are doing some tricks. They're getting people registered to vote who are in high school and then telling them who to vote for, according to this video.
And I'm going to prepare you for this video. This lady's got the craziest accent, and I actually kind of like it. It's
Me too.
A Pittsburgh Yinzer accent, but just listen to her.
Before I start this video, I'm going to say this is a personal experience of mine, something me and my daughter is dealing with, and I have proof, just in case my video is deleted for no reason. I just want to put that out there. Today, my 17-year-old daughter was pulled out of class and was told she needed to register to vote. Not only was she told how to register, she was told who she should vote for. And these are her
And then
words.
we can cut ahead to their screenshot. She had the text messages with the daughter. And then can you read what the daughter said?
She said, "They made me register to vote today. I didn't want to, but they forced me. I said I'll do it another time, but then she told me I had no choice," which I think is a lie. I'm not even 18 yet. Who made you and what party did you choose?
Yeah, you have to do the voice.
It was a she and a Democrat. Did they tell you to pick that? And who was the lady? I forgot her name. I'll find out tomorrow. And yeah, basically she kept saying how it'll be bad if I pick Trump because of what he was doing to the Mexicans and stuff. I really wasn't paying her no mind. And this woman I saw, she followed up and like confronted the people at the school and stuff. But yeah, that's just what sneaky, teachers who are like politically motivated are doing, school administrators. They go, hey, we got to harvest this young black girl's vote because we think she'll vote for Kamala, right?
And they're just adding them in wherever they can. And in bonus land, we're going to show the video of her confronting the teacher admin. Yeah. It's going to be pretty good. FlexTalks.com, join bonus land. So more fake support for Kamala with the students in high school. Crazy accent. More fake support.
I can't get past it. Pittsburgh people are in their own world.
Yeah, they are.
All
Yins.
Right. Yeah.
Yinzers.
Oh, yeah. You're going down to the Steelers game.
All right. So crazy accent. But fake support for Kamala. And then our next clip, she's getting more fake support from fake farmers as well.
Harris and Tim Walz have been accused of deliberate misinformation. They've released a political ad that claims to depict two former Trump voters who live in Pennsylvania and who have switched to Team Kamala after the horrors of January 6. But this pair of farmers shown in the ad appear to in fact be two actors, Robert Lang and Christina Chadwick, and they have an extensive history of donating to the Democrats and leftist causes dating back to at least 2016.
And we got to get that from Australia, from Sky News.
Yeah. Fake farmers. Hey, we got farmers. We got Tim Walz. He appeals to the normal guys.
Yeah.
We got the farmers. Everything's just fake and on stilts.
Yeah.
And the tide's coming in.
And if you press it a little, it's like a wobbly ladder on one leg, and you press it a little, and it's like, oh, that whole thing crumbled. It was all fake and gay.
Yeah.
Pete Buttigieg is prepping Tim Walz. Okay, great.
And then Pete Buttigieg's prepping Tim Walz, but he's also the director of transportation.
Yeah.
And there's like multiple incidents going on that need like transportation input.
Yeah, highways are absolutely closed in everywhere from East Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina.
And he's getting grabby with Tim Walz under the table.
Who knows what he's doing in that debate prep? Prep. You know what prep is.
First part of the debate prep is take your prep.
Take your prep and then get to you know what.
All right, an interesting point was made. You know the show Veep?
Yeah.
With Julie Louis-Dreyfus or whatever?
Elaine from Seinfeld.
Elaine from Seinfeld, that's what she always be. people are saying, like, I've noticed, I've been like, okay, that seems like a Kamala type character.
Yes.
And then someone came out in the news, The Hill reported, Veep actor Julie Louis-Dreyfus said her character on the hit HBO show was not Kamala Harris type and instead compared the fictional vice president to former President Trump.
You go, huh?
You know, are you just telling me a lie to my face?
Yeah.
I've seen the show a little bit.
I haven't watched the show, but I know it's kind of like airheaded. The whole point is like nobody really knows what's going on. It's supposed to like make it.
It's like The Office for politics.
Exactly. And they're kind of guessing. They're figuring it out as they go. And then someone quote tweeted that, who obviously had watched the show more, and said her character was a female U.S. senator who became a powerless and disliked VP until the unpopular incumbent had to quit and she became president before losing in a very close election against an overweight Republican who likes border walls and lost the first debate. So, you can't just make it up and say, hey, it's not about Kamala. It's not the same thing.
It's not a Kamala thing.
It totally is.
It's about Trump.
Yeah. It's like the 4 things in that are perfect matches.
Another interesting point by Mark Normand. He said, Trump is super funny, but weirdly never laughs. Kamala never says anything funny, but laughs constantly.
Lesson in there.
Makes you think about it.
That's a great observation.
That's a very smart tweet. All right, let's get into some of the violent rhetoric we've seen lately, even though Trump had the second assassination attempt. That guy pled not guilty, by the way.
Oh, great.
Even though he wrote that manifesto letter and offered $150K. He's saying not guilty. It's
Pleading not guilty just because.
So you think maybe things would cool down, but obviously they're not going to. Here we have this lady saying, let's extinguish him.
Says is the opposite. It's just another lie. Like, how did we get here? Let's extinguish him for good. We have an answer. We have a remarkably talented candidate.
Yeah, let's extinguish him for good on TV.
Okay.
No issue.
No big deal.
And then Whoopi and Joe Biden had a little violent rhetoric as well on The View.
Then he just wouldn't go. He was like a bug. He just kept being there. He was like a bug right there. So you felt...
Yeah, everyone cheers.
All the cackling women just go crazy.
Yeah.
At the idea of swatting a Trump bug, right?
Yeah, so they like that. And then we actually have a couple tweets here about the new Trump threats. There was like this threat from Iran, and then Darren Beattie had a good tweet that kind of countered that.
It's more likely that the intelligence officials telling Trump Iran is behind assassination attempts are actually the ones behind the assassination attempts than Iran being behind the assassination attempts.
Yeah.
That's how I feel as well. And Trump obviously gets briefings and he gets information. And how do we know that's clean? You know?
Exactly. And then we have reports of 9 surface-to-air missiles that have entered the U.S. through a New Mexico border with the intent to target President Trump's airplane.
Yeah.
And Trump's airplane doesn't have the defense against that, where they shoot the flares off to get the missile off you.
Yep.
Air Force One does. Trump's plane does not. So that's a new thing. And then there's another thing about Trump's inability to rally because they're not giving him the security they need.
The Secret Service woes continue. Former President Trump's campaign scrapped plans for an upcoming outdoor rally in Wisconsin after the Secret Service said it did not have the personnel needed to secure the site. So Harris's administration, that they're in charge of the Secret Service, Biden-Harris. So Harris's administration is telling Harris's opponent that he can't hold swing state rallies because Harris's administration won't commit the security assets necessary to allow it to happen. So
yeah,
crazy.
Which is interesting. Well, that takes us out of our politics section of housekeeping.
Okay.
We're going to move on to...
I see we're leaving some on the table there. That'll be in bonus land.
Yeah, we have a lot of good stuff for bonus land. In bonus land, we're going to compare Democrat kids versus Republican kids. CNN had an interview with both sides and how they break down. It was pretty normal and obvious to us.
Yeah.
But if you're a Democrat, it might be surprising.
You might be shocked.
All right, let's get into our migrant section. This one's it's a rough one today, as it always is. Obviously, the country needs help more than ever. We have all these disasters. We have so many people that need relief and funds and emergency evacuation, stuff like that. And let's talk about the migrant welfare programs that have been established by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
A migrant family of 4 in New York could get over $20,000 a month in freebies. $500 a night at a hotel, $130 a day for food, and having 2 kids in public school costs us $5,000 a month. We didn't even tack on Mayor Adams' $1,000 cash gift cards, the free health care at the ER, or the free phones and free lawyers, or the $400,000 in free college tuition per dreamer. Meanwhile, taxpayers with jobs in New York pay thousands to live in a closet.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, they do
and that's
all
not
this.
cash, obviously, but it's like services, people, and then stuff that gets paid for by the government. So it's all taxpayer as well.
All taxpayer. And then, what do our cities look like when these third worlders come here? We have this clip of someone filming like in the middle of the night outside their apartment complex in Denver. He said that they're up all night, they're playing music, there's kids around that aren't going to school or going to sleep at a normal hour. They fight, they do crimes, and they just hang out in the parking lot.
Yeah, and here's this one. This is at 4:14 in the morning at the Ivy Crossing Apartments. They're listening to techno music, drinking beer. The kids are out there. Nobody has anywhere to go. There's no work. It's like you're on vacation in the U.S., and it's a squalor vacation. But when you're used to squalor,
this is nice squalor.
That's great squalor. Yeah, this is protected squalor. No real gang members to come and demand taxation or protection money from you, right?
And if you need anything, you just strong arm somebody.
Yeah, you strong arm an old lady.
The lady's got a purse right there.
Hey,
you need
look at
cash?
her. She's old.
And then, this is weird that we see this because we were told by Kamala years ago that the border is secure.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see stuff like this, and it makes you wonder. We actually have a side-by-side of Kamala in a span of 2 years.
Would you call the border secure?
The border is secure.
You're confident this border is secure?
We have a secure border.
As your president, I will secure our border.
Fascinating.
That's weird. So the border isn't secure. She kind of says that with her most recent speech. Yeah. And I'm kind of wondering, how did we lose our border security? Because Trump left it in pretty good shape. Well, if you remember, here we have Kamala's administration sending a forklift to raise the barbed wire so everyone can come in. Remember that?
Yeah, and that barbed wire was put in place by Texas, the state of Texas. I think Arizona did something similar too. The Harris-Biden admin sued Texas when they had those buoys that had razor wire on them that were in the Rio Grande. And so secure, in Kamala's mind, is a very subjective thing. It's like, yeah, there's a border. Anybody who comes and says, I'm a refugee, though, they get in. But that's secure to her, right?
Yeah. It's very strange how that works. And you're talking about border security, but then you send a forklift to raise the barbed wire fence. So you're not about border security. And then
to let the horde in. This isn't like, oh, yeah, come on in. This woman has a child. Let her through. Have some heart. It's the horde,
Yeah.
It's anyone.
And then they also created an app to expedite people coming in who would have otherwise been illegal.
Through Kamala's phone app for migrants, she has allowed virtually an unlimited number of illegals to press a button, schedule their illegal immigration appointment at our ports of entry, and show up to be released in our country. And that is what a lot of the people from Haiti did. A lot of them are from the app.
Yeah.
And so that's like, oh, I'm a refugee. I just need to click a few buttons and...
got the app.
Yeah, and we'll fly you in, right?
And then they're also getting benefits beyond that when it comes to buying a house. Can you read this tweet? Sorry to make you read so much today, Richard.
It's all right. I'm good at it. I was wondering how an illegal Haitian was able to purchase a $600,000 home across the street from me. And then I researched illegals are allowed to purchase homes in the U.S. with ITIN mortgages. And that's individual tax ID number mortgages. So it's people without a social security card getting a mortgage. My 25 and 21-year-old daughters were turned down for a mortgage with 20% down, 2 full-time jobs, and a thriving business because the length of their credit history isn't long enough.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Prioritizing these people.
But they're not they don't drive housing costs at all, 20 million new people here coming in on an app, they don't drive anything up, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then Kamala is obviously planning on giving all these people who are here temporarily permanent ways of becoming American citizens. Here she is talking about the pathway to citizenship.
And as president, I will work with Congress to create, at long last, a pathway to citizenship for hardworking immigrants who have been here for years. For years.
Oh, wow.
they've been here for years. They just jumped the border and they never really talked to anybody. And kind of whoever was in that administration did something illegal or didn't catch them. But they've been here for years.
Let them in.
They're as American as you and me, right?
Yeah, you're going to subsidize them with all your money. And then over the years, Kamala talking about the border. In 2021, she tweeted about the border once. 0 tweets in 2022 and 2023. And now that she's running and there's an election coming up, you can see in 2024 how the border tweets start churning up.
Well, 2024, she only had 7 for the first 9 months. And then when she realized she could probably lose the election if she does, that voters actually care about the border and they don't want unlimited third worlders here, then she started tweeting up a storm. So
yeah,
you can't trust someone like that. Obviously, it's been Trump's entire life mission to close the border.
Yeah, exactly.
And, she thinks a couple tweets now will be like, oh, that's fine. Yeah. There's joy in the campaign, right?
Yeah, exactly. But hey, the illegals that are here, they do bring some cultural value.
Yeah.
I saw this picture online. Someone made dinosaur shaped empanadas.
Let in 20 more million.
How much do they need? A couple $100,000 from us?
A month?
We don't need money.
Come on.
We're not trying to build our own future. Let's give it to them.
Pay us in tamales and empanadas, guys. Come on.
Then someone actually had this stance because everyone's talking about how the Haitians are eating cats and dogs.
Yeah.
And then they tweeted, "This is what Haitian immigrants actually eat. Delicious food in an immigrant community that is happy to work hard and contribute. Good stuff all around." If you look closely at that food, it looks like shit. That rice looks like gray worms.
Yeah.
That salad looks like a cheap salad you get at a shitty pizza place for free.
Or like a flight. You get that on a United flight to
Yeah.
Honolulu.
And it comes hot in a metal tray.
Yeah, the lasagna below it heats it up. And
Yeah,
it ruins
so
the salad.
no one
Yeah.
wants that. And then they have chicken on the right, and there's just raw onions and peppers on top.
Yeah.
Minimal seasoning. I don't want that shit.
And then Haitian cuisine, you wash it all down with Coca-Cola and Pepsi.
Yeah. Hey, we got to bring them here. They eat this shit.
Yeah, they eat the schlop pile, so they're good.
And I'm sure they have a health standard and they wash their hands.
Yeah.
Which they probably don't. There's a couple of things that I wanted to mention from this whole thing. The idea of selling out your country, giving your country away, not having borders, not having standards, and allowing like bad people to just take it from you. Can you read that first one?
Hey, remember how God hated Esau because he handed over his entire birthright because he wanted some food? I used to think this was very weird behavior, but watching Euros and Westerners in general justify replacement immigration with, at least the food is yummy, kind of clicks.
Yep. And then there's
So it was a little biblical.
Very biblical. We're going to get a little more biblical here with Deuteronomy. Can you read that?
Foreigners who live in your land will gain more and more power while you gradually lose yours. They will have money to lend you, but you will have none to lend them. In the end, they will be your rulers.
That rings true.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
We're in the first quarter of that one.
Yeah, exactly. Right. We're in biblical times. And the people who are coming here are also literally murderers. Trump used to say that. Remember, they're emptying their prisons and everyone got mad. Listen to this most recent Fox report.
Director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement confirms that more than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
Thanks.
That's under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and she's just tweeting about it now. 13,000 murderers. We have a couple. There's like a whole table here. This was a letter from the director of ICE to Tony Gonzalez, who is a congressman or senator. I'm actually not sure. But the point is they asked for this information, right? And it's like arson, 792, assault, 62,000, sexual offenses, dangerous drugs, 56,000. You know, there's just a list and list that goes on and on. Sex offenses, almost 10,000. Larceny, 18,000. Homicide, obviously, we just said 13,000. But, like, these are just true criminals coming over the border, and then they get released with, like, some court date later. And we've covered the court dates. They're in 2028 or something.
So you're getting all these murderers and violent criminals here, and you let them go.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
And then, like, Laken Riley and American citizens who have been actually killed, it's like, oh, wow, these people, this should never happen. And it's like, no, they're literally letting murderers out.
Yeah.
And then another thing about this was the time frame. They requested this information in like March. And then the letter starts with like, "Oh, dear Tony, the Honorable Tony Gonzalez, apologies for the delay."
So it took him 6 months to get this information to them, and then he goes, "Sorry for the delay."
Sorry for the delay, but there are 13,000 murderers that we let loose into this country. I hope that's okay. I'm the director of ICE.
I didn't get to your. I was out of office.
Yeah, I was on vacation. I was with Joe Biden on the beach, right?
Yeah, and then Trump says that they're going to do serial numbers. Trump says he'll identify migrants by serial numbers and then deport them.
Yeah,
I like that.
Me too.
I like giving a number and
Got to
get
have
them
an
out.
orderliness to this. We got to get them out, right, guys?
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get into our last piece of the migrant section. There was a Haitian official who gave a speech, and we'll just watch it. He's drinking out of the pitcher.
That's what Tim Walz is going to do at the debate. He's going to be nervous. He's going to pull something up to his hand and be like shaking.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're drinking out of the pitcher.
Yeah.
And then there's a new stat that came out. 4% of the entire population of Haiti has entered the USA through irregular means during this administration.
Yeah.
4% of the whole shitty country.
And half of these Haitians were flown in on the Kamala Express, that's like the app. That's where you sign up and you say, "Hey, can I get a flight? Can I catch a ride?"
Bad stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we're moving on to the last page of housekeeping. Like we said, it's going to be a slightly longer show today.
Okay.
And that's okay. Another 15 minutes. I'm not going to give up my page of housekeeping.
No one would expect you to.
Make sure you use this opportunity to help us to juice the algo. Leave a like, leave a comment again, start yapping, tickle the algo, juice the algo.
Tell us what you think Pete Buttigieg and Tim Walz practiced at the debate prep.
Yeah, Tim Walz is going to need to see the back of the throat doctor.
Is that like what, an ear, nose, and throat doctor, but it's just specialized in back of the throat?
Yeah, back of the throat doctor.
Okay.
Tim Walz.
All right.
Let's go to
Tim Sandusky.
Tim Sandusky. White P. Diddy is what I
That's
heard.
that's what you said before the show started, and nobody else said, but it rings true.
White P. Diddy.
White P. Diddy.
All right. Speaking of P. Diddy.
Okay.
First things first. There's a Ellen tweet from a while ago.
Uh-huh.
Can you read what the Ellen tweet says?
Happy birthday, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, or as I call him, Cuddle McSnuggle Stuff. You don't need to know why.
That's weird.
That's fucking bad, Ellen.
Doesn't sound good.
And you're a lesbian, too. She's a lesbian, so she's probably into some weird shit.
But she drinks the blood.
Oh, yeah.
She drinks the blood. She's in on that. And she's a CIA person. Of course she's in on it. The whole thing, they run everyone through her when they need coverage.
Okay. Allegedly. Right. Throw it allegedly in, please.
Allegedly. Okay. P. Diddy.
Yeah.
I don't know who that Somali guy on the left is. There's that Somali guy on the left. That's not P. Diddy.
That's not P. Diddy. They body swapped him. That's like Abul Akrami or something like that.
And they go, "We're going to do the trial and we're going to give you $100,000 and all you got to do," and he doesn't even speak English.
And he never takes the stand. And then he never makes like a statement at the end during sentencing. And it's just a Somali guy who goes to jail. And he gets to the cell and it's like some other buddy. And he's like, "Whoa, P. Diddy, I never thought I'd be cellies with you." And he goes, and he goes,
"What?" And that's weird. He's not even speaking English. And then someone in the middle of the night comes and stabs him and he's dead.
Yep.
And then they send P. Diddy to the island where Elvis went.
Exactly.
But hey, that Somali guy, that's not P. Diddy. All right, we got to go fast. We got to go fast. We're running out of time. The hurricane, and when you mirror it,
all right.
Doesn't look
we can
good.
skip this one.
Doesn't look. It looks satanic.
It looks like Jigsaw from Saw.
Doesn't it look like satanic?
Yeah.
Also, I think more hurricanes are coming because they're going to turn the hurricane machine on and try and blast Florida with it as much as they can before the election.
Okay.
So make sure you guys are preparing because they're going to send as many hurricanes our way as they can.
Okay.
Well, let's go to this next tweet. The mass casualty event.
U.S. lawmakers are preparing for a potential mass casualty event by proposing a constitutional amendment aimed at swiftly replacing members and altering lines of succession during a national crisis. This amendment seeks to maintain continuous representation for constituents while deterring violent attempts to influence the balance of power in the White House.
Doesn't sound good.
This is from the Shadow of Ezra account. I don't know.
Well, we don't know, but
Doesn't
keep an
really-
eye out for that. Doesn't sound good. Deep State will do anything to stay in power. We all know that.
And I'm not familiar with the account, but that rings a little schizo to me. So that's why it's in this section of housekeeping. I just want to hedge
Or
everyone.
I'm allowed to say whatever I want.
Yes.
Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen. Somebody goes, I literally thought this was Megan Rapinoe. He's looking like a lesbian.
He looks like a lesbian. Happy birthday. He's 75 years old. And
That's why I don't want to make fun of Bruce Springsteen. He's trying hard, right? Isn't he 75? It looks a little bad.
He's like the worst horrible Democrat. He sold out.
I know he's an Obama guy, but like I'm not going to just make fun of his appearance. But I'll make fun of him when he says Obama's the best or something. But this is just like
But he's doing weird plastic surgery. Those are chest implants. He shaved all his chest hair. He has a lesbian haircut and a skinny neck now. He got it all pulled tight. He's doing too much. He looks like a lesbian.
You made a good case.
Does he look like a lesbian?
Yeah, for sure. But I like to think I'm above just appearance attacks.
But
you know,
he didn't naturally become a lesbian. This is just him in his old age. He's doing thousands and thousands of dollars worth of work, and now they made him look like a lesbian.
Okay,
it's not like,
I get your point.
I'm old and my body's falling apart. I would never make fun of that. Oh, my hair's falling out.
Yeah.
He's paying to look like that, and he botched it.
Okay.
All right, next. A lot of you guys know Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
He played us on his show.
Yeah. Do we want to play it or no?
I don't know. We're not going to play it because he's probably going to get us copyright striked, but we can like kind of scroll through it with some screenshots.
Yeah.
Him and Sean Ryan were there. They're talking about the thing we talked about the attendees at the Kamala rally. Very cool. Rapboy was all over it.
Yeah, I was reading. He caught me reading. And he goes, I don't know what podcast this is right before. It's like, you could admit it, Joe. We know you're tuning in.
I don't know what podcast this is. What he said, I don't know what podcast this is from, but just play it. So technically, just play it was said by Joe Rogan about this podcast.
Pretty good.
Hey, what do you do about the podcast? Oh, just play it.
Just play it, Joe Rogan. And we made it into a gay quote thing where he's like looking hard.
Yeah.
Just play it.
I don't even care.
Yeah, it was nice though. It was nice to see.
It's nice, but it's nice. It's like what's an accolade? We had 200 episodes. That was a milestone. Getting featured on the #1 podcast in the world is a milestone.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a nice thing that happens when we work hard on the show and we get rewarded in some way.
Yep.
100,000 views on the YouTube sometimes. It's good, you know? Yeah. Okay, let's get into this last part, the golden age tweet. Can you read this?
Collectively, we are in the midst of a massive healing response that will be followed by a golden age in humanity? ? Or collectively, are we on a downward spiral that will lead to a dark age for humanity? Which is it? Is it both? Does it largely depend on the thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and actions of you, your family, and your community? I think so. I think we're that strong in our ability to co-create, but overall, where do you think humanity is headed?
That's a good question, and that's a good point.
I think there's a fight right now, and there's two obvious opposing forces where one is for nothing, and then one has like honor, family, truth. You know?
Exactly. It's the negative, low vibration people that live in fear. They're going to go spiral down with the toxic culture ship that's sinking. And then the good, positive people like us and the show watchers, we need to attract the people who are in between. And we do this by not being black-pilled and living in the new paradigm that we want to usher in. So it's like there's two worlds, right? There's a negative bad and a uplifting good.
There's cringe and there's uplifting gold.
And then the bad people are going to go like this and sink while the good people rise up. And the way you rise up is by living in the way you want to live in the future now. And then that'll attract more people and that'll actually usher it in. So the other one will fall. The good people living good will be good. God, family, health, freedom, independence.
Okay.
That's it. That's all you got to do. All right, we're at housekeeping. We'll be on to Cringe of the Week. All right, our first clip of Cringe of the Week, Brittney Griner.
Yeah.
Former Russian inmate.
Prisoner of, I guess not war, just hostage.
She did something illegal.
Yeah, she brought weed pen into Russia. That was smart. Real brainiac, this one. We gave up the fucking...
Legion of Death or whatever.
We gave up the, what's his name?
Mercenary of Death?
Yeah, it was something
Mercenary
like
of
that.
Doom?
I miss him, that guy. I miss him. I wish we still had him.
had him in our custody. He had a mustache. That guy was cool.
Yeah.
He got shit
Merchant
done.
of Death.
Merchant of Death. Merchant of Death.
Can't believe we forgot.
Yeah, that's how long it's been. Brittney Griner's claiming that Caitlin Clark's fans are being racist and yelling racial slurs at WNBA games. Let's check this out.
Obviously, the game has grown and people there's new fans, but how do you appreciate the new fans without all the noise that's coming with them?
Appreciate the new fans that sit there and yell racial slurs at myself, my teammates, and the people that I play against. Because
so she's claiming that that people are yelling racial slurs as if
her her teammates and other people. So like there's multiple instances of racial slurs, according to Brittney.
You should have a lot of evidence then. There's a million cameras, there's a million microphones, there's a million people filming. I think if a racial slur was yelled at a black player at a WNBA game, everyone would go, "What did you just say? This guy right here, get him out. This guy filming him. Oh, this guy said this."
It would be record scratch, teenage drama, music stops. Everybody looks directly at the person who said the racial slur. And she's just firing from the hip. Like, they're calling us racial slurs. Show me one.
Show us one.
One. She said plural, right? She named multiple people who had been the victims of this. Please show me one. And it's like just some old guy who's like not even a fan. He just goes there to mumble under his breath.
Yeah. And then
so it's so fake. They hate Caitlin Clark attention, so they have to get back to like, whoa, I'm a victim somehow. The president of the United States freed you from a Russian prison, Brittney.
And now you have to pretend that there's people yelling racial slurs.
Exactly.
And then there's a more context to this. Can you read from the article?
Well, these are actually unrelated. I don't think they're playing the Indiana Fever, but this is in the same vein for the WNBA. They don't know how to act now that they have Caitlin Clark and fans and more attention, and they're kind of under a microscope. So this is from a writer who is writing about her experience going to an Indiana Fever game, which is Caitlin Clark's team. Every time the Fever scored, the crowd would erupt, but it didn't feel like fans were rooting for their team. It felt like a threat. There was an ominous feeling in the building.
An ominous feeling. And we actually have a picture of some of the ominous chanters.
Yeah, I think these are the 4 horsemen of death for the Indiana Fever. Here they are.
Here they are, these 4 kids with the Caitlin Clark jerseys. So that's who's doing the ominous feeling.
And it's such a foreign feeling for WNBA journalists, players. It's so foreign to hear people cheering that they mistake them for threats and ominous.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where we're at in the WNBA, right?
I think it's to the point where if you cheer against a person of color, it's racism.
That's where we're trending.
It's like, forget the rivalry game, forget how close it is, forget the 3-pointer you just made. If you're cheering against a person of color, it's because you hate black people.
Well, and that's kind of the subtext of the whole thing of all the players hating Caitlin is they're like, why is this bitch the big fan favorite? Like, there should have been some black fan favorite who changed the game previously.
And there's that one girl from LSU who just has a bad attitude.
Angel Reese, yeah.
No one wants to cheer for her.
And so everybody thinks like someone else should have been the star before Caitlin, and that's a lot of the jealousy and kind of rage, in my opinion, right?
Someone else should have been the star, and then how do you pick? Well, 99% of it's based on race, right?
Yeah.
1%'s being on the team.
Exactly.
All right, moving on to our next clip. This is basically a cringe sports section that we mentioned in the intro. This guy goes around at college football games wearing the rivalry jersey of the team they're playing, and look at the reaction.
And he chirps them too. He talks a little shit. He's like, he's doing this for the reaction.
Hey, you ugly ass, you're about to get Keep walking, pal. Oh, no, he's in trouble. Keep walking. Keep walking. Hey, them. Calm down, little bro. What'd you say? Say it with your chest. Oh, don't touch me. You. Excuse me, do you guys actually think you're gonna win today?
Excuse me.
Oh, who the asked, buddy?
I don't care about winning. I care about winning your.
Yeah, keep sucking your fingers.
Let me tell you some real bro. I'm from Miami.
Is he trying to kiss me?
Watch your mouth.
Are you trying to kiss me?
Hey, mouth. Go home. This guy. You. I bet you.
You get the point. It goes on like that for a couple more minutes.
Lots of energy from our young men.
Yeah.
This is like the reaction you should have if someone came up to you and said, I just gave 100 billion tax dollars to Ukraine.
Hey, me and my buddies just dropped 20,000 Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. What are you going to do about it?
Get this fucking guy.
Let's beat his ass. You get in his face.
We just told your 7-year-old boy that he's a girl. We're transing your kid.
This is for like the unranked Florida versus Miami game some random year.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
And these kids get mad about how like a teenager throws a football.
And a 17-year-old, that Alabama wide receiver, he's 17. And look, I get it, but we're just making the point. Like, imagine if they were angry at some of the more correct things. Like the taxes are going up and we're just printing money and we've had a deficit every year. You know, all these things that you could legitimately be angry about and all your rage is channeled to the Florida Gators. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
Exactly. And this is why the bad guys do what they do. They have so many people that are asleep, and then the people that are awake are the bad guys. You know, like that's how they engineer it. And they also engineer it in a way where all the young people can't think and are retarded and aren't able to do everyday household math, geography, basic human knowledge. They don't have. This other guy did a clip where he was asking people to do easy math, and look at the answers.
College students can't do basic math.
85 plus 25.
85 plus 20. 115 plus 7. 122.
There you go.
Okay.
I don't know where you got the 7 from, but yeah, you're right. Yeah. What's 85 plus 25?
105.
Yes.
Wow. Hold up. 85
It's a head
plus
scratcher.
25. We'll say 97.
What is 85 plus 25?
Oh my gosh.
I
85 plus 25.
Yep.
25, 5, 10, 8, 4, 5, 6. 60?
60. Good job.
Thank you.
These people have backpacks on. They have a backpack with like notebooks in it and a pen, and they go to class and they write stuff down, and you don't even know 85 plus 25.
The last girl said a number less than either of the numbers.
She confused
Or
plus
85.
with minus, I guess.
It's crazy.
And then the one person, you're adding 85 plus 25, so the second number is 5 and 5, so it would either have to end in 0 or 5.
Everybody knows that.
7. It's like you don't even know that you don't know.
What do they do all day? They just get talked in words and they never think about numbers, and it's just all about like sociology or some weird like gender studies.
Yeah, they learn about how the slavery built the whole country.
Yeah, colonialism. They learn about colonialism.
It's like, well, even though it was like cotton picking, the country wasn't based on that.
Bad.
People can't even think. They have a backpack.
Yeah.
They pay $60,000 a year to go to college, and then you can't even add regular? 85 plus 25, okay. 85 plus 5 is 90, and 20 plus 90 is 110.
They should have to go back to school like Billy Madison and do first grade all the way up.
And then someone else had like this is a 4chan post, so who knows if it's real, but it rings true.
Just got a job, 20-year-old autist, working drive-through at McDonald's. I'll have 2 chicken sandwiches, one with no tomato. Okay, which one do you want no tomato on? Some brief silence and a muffled sound. Either one, man. Messed up their change, too.
These people can't think.
Yeah.
Some
people are retarded.
Think. All right, back to our sports cringe section. This was posted, I think it was from last week's game.
Yeah.
This lady had a sign with her husband at the game.
Josh, I just got married, but I'd leave my husband for you. P.S. He's right here.
Yeah, thanks.
So this middle-aged woman.
The middle-aged, not attractive woman is trying to embarrass her husband in front of everyone on national TV, which she did, to get Josh Allen, who dates like movie stars.
Yeah. He's dating like a movie star.
No, it's not even a good bit. It's just like you're just humiliating your husband in front of every single person at that stand who's in the stands who sees it.
There's a world where you could argue to me like, hey, I'll humiliate my husband a little bit if the punchline's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
You could argue, right?
Yeah.
But this is just not even funny. You're like a middle-aged woman. You shouldn't be doing stuff like this.
Poor guy.
Sports are making people crazy, I guess.
You can't marry the wrong one.
That's condemned?
That's
She's
the takeaway.
completely condemned? Yeah.
Yeah, horrible. A good woman would not belittle their husband even in a minor way.
Bad.
But there is a silver lining with the young men being stupid, can't do math, care about football too much.
It's only some of them.
It's only some of them, and church attendance in Gen Z men is going up.
Is rising for, I believe, the first time in a while from this chart based on all the way from 1940 where we plummeted. We bottomed out is what it looks like, and we're steadily rising for men.
We're steadily rising. Good to see that.
Yeah.
But don't worry, the corporations are working on stopping that. Coca-Cola has this thing where you can print like whatever you want on a can, and look what isn't allowed.
So at the Coke store, you can personalize a message. You can put Allah loves you. Or you could even put, let me see, let's just try it out. Buddha loves you. but you cannot even type in the word Jesus. We cannot allow this text on the can.
That's weird.
And then shit like that, when this happens, it's like, it's not just, it's a very specific thing that was typed in. The rule exists that this can't be on this right now. And it's like someone went out of their way to say, I'm not letting Jesus be put on this can, right?
Some fat pig.
Some real pink-haired pig who probably can't get 85 plus 25, which, by the way, what is it?
110.
Okay. I was going to just check it.
I still got it. Ask me another one, a random one.
35 plus 24.
59.
Yep.
That wasn't even hard.
That's pretty good. That was not planned at all. All right, 71 plus 28.
99.
That was an easy one.
You know why?
Though.
Because I competed against David Edisari every single day in the multiplication and addition thing, and I worked really hard when I was in like 4th grade.
Everybody knows that. Everybody knows about David Edisari, the arch nemesis.
And
I wonder where he is now.
He beat me in the basketball shootout too. We know about
David
that.
Edisari had your fucking
My whole
number, dude.
family. You lost the basketball shootout to David Edisari. You didn't qualify because David Edisari got in. Yeah, and that made me actually work harder. And David Edisari is probably a doctor now. He's a smart guy. He's Indian.
Oh, he was?
He's Indian, yeah.
David Edisari is Indian? That doesn't sound like an Indian name.
He's a very Indian.
Edisari?
Yeah, yeah. He's
All
a
right.
doctor. Doctor.
Oh, he's a doctor.
All right, let's get to our trans section of Cringe. We're running behind, but honestly, guys, we're going to do an extra 30 minutes, basically.
Okay.
The show's going to be an hour and a half, and it's usually an hour and 10, extra 20 minutes.
All right.
All right, we have a new person with entertaining talents, or PET, or PET. This is our new pet.
This morning I'm finally travelling to Madrid for my vaginoplasty surgery. I'm pretty anxious as I'll be travelling and checking into hospital on my own. Luckily my mum will be meeting me from hospital and staying with me for my recovery for 2 weeks. I feel this operation couldn't come at a better time. I'm just hoping that this makes me feel a lot more happy and confident in my body and in myself in general.
Hoping it makes me feel happy.
You're getting your cock removed and a fake vagina replaced. And
Kind
you're
of a
gambling.
It's kind of a dice roll.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, you did something pretty permanent. And you're not going to be able to have kids.
That's the crux of a lot of these is I'm hoping it's like a fingers crossed situation, major surgery 2 weeks in a foreign country because some people online said, yeah, it worked for me. And then you know how hard it would be for them to admit that they chopped off their cock and got a fake vagina and then it didn't work out? You know how much they'd have to like really reflect on their life and how bad it would have to go for them to admit that it was the wrong choice?
And the people who do admit, they get censored from the Reddit board.
Yeah.
So it's like you really can't get that info, and all you're seeing is like, oh man, I'm one step away from being happy like these folks. So that guy is actually a lady.
Well, yeah, now.
And she is a singer.
Yeah.
And we actually have a clip from one of her songs.
Now that I'm finally a bit more comfortable with my vocals, I'm back to finalising the tracks that I started recording back in November.
Close, you were so funny. Baby, that's the reason that you love me. So I know that you're going never go.
Tiptoe through the meadow. Tiny Tim shit.
So what do we learn from this?
Well, if you're delusional and you think you're a lady and you're a guy, you're probably also delusional and think you're a good singer when you're not.
Delusion carries over. It's not just one-dimensional, all right? That's the lesson we learned here, guys.
That is the lesson. And then
We'll be following this music. I'm going to be following the music career with great interest, though.
Me too.
I'll tell you that much.
I'm hoping for some action.
I'm hoping for an album.
Yeah, I'd listen to it. And then we mentioned this a couple episodes ago. Will Ferrell has his new trans show on Netflix.
His buddy went trans at age 60 or something, and then he drove across America, and then it was like a struggle session mixed with Will Ferrell and meeting people across America.
Yep,
right?
And then can you read the tweet and then the reply?
Will Ferrell says he doesn't understand why transphobia exists. I don't know why trans people are meant to be threatening to me. Why would you care if somebody's happy? Why is that threatening to you?
And then someone replied to that very well and said, what's so interesting about this is Ferrell's own film proves people aren't threatened by trans people. His own film literally shows him taking his trans friend to country hick bars and dirt car hick races Dirt car hick races?
He's redundant on hick. Filled with Trump voters and none of them care. There's even a scene where like people are like, yeah, do what you're going to do.
Yeah.
It's basically like that.
It's all made up.
Yeah.
It's not all made up, but anything less than sucking the dude in the dress gets you a transphobic label.
And that's the thing, transphobia, that's a word game from the left. It's never what we've felt. Nobody's scared of trans people. I'm not scared of some weak guy who's on estrogen. It's actually way easier. He made it easier. He cut off his, it's easier to not be afraid of him, right?
But if there are some things that you could be afraid of, so it's like, oh, why are people afraid of trans people? Because they sexually assault people at a higher rate.
Yeah.
There's one. Like if I was a woman or a young girl in a bathroom and there's a trans person there, I'd be scared because statistically speaking, they're more likely to assault me. Can you read the...
This is a rehash of data that we covered on the show. 4.85 times higher than men who don't identify as trans, rate of sexual offending, and then 640 times higher than women. So you go in a woman's bathroom and you go, okay, woman, 640 times higher likelihood of sexually assaulting me. And I'm supposed to be okay with that? That's my daughter. That's my niece. That's my cousin, right?
Yep.
And then also, I don't think they should be able to beat up girls or take their scholarships. And that's like, doesn't equal being afraid of them. That's just right and wrong. We've never been jump scared away from trans. Actually, the real ugly ones we have, I will admit.
Yeah.
But that's more of a disgust reflex. That's not a phobia, right?
Yep, exactly. All right, our last piece of cringe. This woman tweeted about how she's scared that Christian nationalism is on the rise, and look what she has as her evidence.
Creeping Christian nationalism alert. Alaska Air flight attendant just wished us a blessed night as we landed in SFO to groans. Other adjectives that would have sufficed. Great, awesome, fabulous, amazing, fantastic. As my roommate said, this ain't Montgomery, sweetie. Everyone clapped, and she was a drag queen, and you know what?
And then there was
someone said blessed.
That's the problem. That's creeping Christian nationalism. And can you read the reply?
Yeah, Mike Solana said, ironically, this isn't evidence of creeping Christian nationalism, that the word blessed has become rare enough in public use that Comrade Karen, editor of a Marxist tabloid, finds it shocking is evidence of creeping socialism.
Yeah. So it's getting bad out there.
It's actually backwards.
You're supposed to say, have a trans kid evening.
Yeah, have a black, trans, gay, lesbian, Pete Buttigieg night.
Yeah.
And then you slap Tim Walz on the ass, and then he goes and gets slaughtered at the debate.
Yeah, exactly. So the issue is the Christian nationalism creeping in, but we've had like trans shit creeped into our churches, our schools, Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah.
Everywhere. But that
it's
saying
not
have a blessed evening.
You're not allowed to slow the creep down, you know? You're not
Yeah.
allowed to even have any sort of stutter step back.
Exactly.
As Davey Scatino would say.
Yeah. Well, don't get too down or too depressed. It's going to get a little worse. We're going to go to urban decay now. We're going to go faster through urban because we are running out of time.
Yeah.
The Waze car. There's an autonomous car driving without a driver in San Francisco. And then everyone just comes over and starts wrecking it.
Yeah, the urban youths start graffitiing the $400,000 self-driving Waze test car, right?
And it's not cool. It's not a cool crime like cutting down the AI camera or cutting the wires to the 5G tower.
Yeah,
and
we're Blade Runners. We don't let that facial recognition software keep us down.
Yeah, we're unplugging Skynet. It's not like that. It's actually very dystopian. There's like a gay tech guy in the front seat with a Labradoodle, it looks like.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's who the criminals are dominating here.
Yeah, and a swarm of thug comes and goes, ooh, I should write my signature on that.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm going to write my gang sign on that.
Yeah.
It's not cool at all. It's just like income inequality dystopia. This gay tech worker guy with his little poodle can't play defense on a self-driving car because these crime
career
enjoyers.
criminals are doing what they will.
Yeah.
And then also, this is going to kind of work itself out because now they're going to need to send like a security person with every self-driving car, and you just reinvented driving the car again.
Yeah.
You're back to...
Someone's got to care about the well-being.
Yeah, you have to sit in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And if anything happens, you have to get out and it's okay. So I just drive the car.
No, you don't drive anymore. You're just security for the self-driving car.
Yeah.
So they get the same amount of manpower backwards.
Exactly. All right, our next section is debunking the lies that crime is down. Pete Buttigieg, someone's been in our mouth a lot today.
Pete Buttigieg, crime is down, he tweeted. That's it.
And then Mark Cuban is reiterating the lie.
Yeah, he said, I'm not even going to read it. It's a long thing about how what they did was start calculating in 2019, the first down year for Trump. And he's saying that Trump is bad and everybody else is fine and crime's not up, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then before we let's actually get into the thing. Can you maybe just read it? It's going to be a lot of reading for Rat Boy, but it's worth it.
If we're running 30 minutes late on the show, can you read this whole zero hedge thing? Sure. Unfortunately, that's simply not true. This is the quote tweet of Cuban. The argument made by Trump and challenged by the liberal media is whether crime has increased under Biden. It has, and very dramatically, according to the DOJ's Bureau of Justice Statistics NCVS annual survey. Here are the facts. First, while the violent crime rate did fluctuate under Trump, it ended 2020, the year BLM riots sparked. Calls to defund the police at 16.4%, the lowest on record. This was unchanged during Biden's first year and then jumped to a 10-year high and pulled back slightly in 2023. And so obviously that's like anybody with a brain and anybody who's looking at anecdotal evidence, they know what happened. Police stopped enforcing certain laws, traffic laws that kind of would get people arrested. DAs got more lax with their racial justice ideas. And where did it affect everybody the most? Urban areas. Like you see where they lock up the socks.
Yeah, they lock up socks. They lock up deodorant. Like we see it with our own eyes.
Oakland's not even a city anymore.
Yeah.
Every business is gone. Like there's like 2 left and then it's like you can't even come in the restaurant. We'll bring it out to you. And
there's people laying on the ground in Philadelphia just like, help me.
But the big difference is urban, suburban versus rural. And obviously urban areas where the most leftist DA, the hardest to police, and obviously where most population lives, that's where the high population centers are. It's going up every year, 2021, 22, 21, 22. That's violent crime right here. And then property crime also.
Yeah, all the crimes you'd expect. Violent crime, property crime, assaults, robberies, looting, carjackings. It's all going up.
There's stranger violence. It's just like unbelievable. And but Pete Buttigieg will tweet that because like we cooked the FBI books to say stuff that we think will help Democrats.
Yeah,
I just think that's such a total losing strategy too. And we talked about this on it might have been the last episode or sometime last week. It's like I'm done even caring that much about some sort of FBI data or a trend line somewhere. It's like I'm going off anecdotal vibes and videos I see on the internet. Oh, nobody's stopping that person who grabbed 15 coats from the department store and is running out. You know,
anecdotal evidence is reality.
Yeah.
And then I think the idea of, well, you can't trust anecdotal evidence was a psyop.
Yeah.
Because everyone has a story or knows someone who has a story of, I got carjacked, my dad got punched, my brother got robbed.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's got a story. And that is reality. And then you can't trust it because it's anecdotal. Yeah, you can.
And then
it's real. It's firsthand. Yeah, you can.
Remember when the white girls in New York were discovering that they had all been sucker punched by like a black male between the age of 20 and 35? And like it only kind of started spreading because it was on social media and like none of them really reported it to the police. It's like, that's pretty good anecdotal.
Yeah.
Like, and that didn't used to happen. There weren't random sucker punches of criminally insane people who definitely should be in jail somewhere.
Exactly. And the media is a big part of what keeps this information from the public. And that's why you don't hear stories like this. Officer David Lee, 18-year veteran, wife and 2 kids, murdered by an illegal who shouldn't have been in this country. Where's BLM? He's a black police officer. But you don't hear about that.
St. Louis PD.
Because they don't show it. But then they tell you crime is down.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. No marches, no cities will burn for him. He wasn't the right kind of guy, right?
And Pete Buttigieg, who like eats a healthy diet and works out so he can be attractive to his husband, tells you crime is down.
Yeah.
That's who you're supposed to listen to.
So I look at the locked up socks and I go, oh, okay, locked up socks. That's weird. That's not even expensive. And then I turn and I look at Pete Buttigieg's tweet and I know what he's about. And then you have to make a decision. And then you start going back on the anecdotal. And where do we end up?
Do I trust my eyes or do I believe, a lying homosexual.
The lying homosexual in the current administration who's up for re-election. Okay. All right. I can sort this one out.
These socks are unlocked.
Yeah. Grab it.
All right. We're in our last part of urban. This is like a little bit of an urban kid section. We got some bad kids. First clip. Yep, that's a bad kid. And then, yeah.
All the women are laughing and encouraging him, and they start filming, and they think it's funny.
They like it.
And this kid's going to hit 14, and then he's going to be stronger than all of you, all the women who raised him, because there's no man in his life. He's going to say, "Fuck you, Mom," and run out the door with a real gun this time. And he ain't coming back, or somebody else's baby ain't coming back. Somebody else's child ain't coming back.
Exactly. And then they'll graduate to scams, and then this next clip is kind of that. Some kids knocking on the door trying to sell like candy. You know how that goes.
Yep.
And listen to how the guy handles it. The guy handles it very well.
To the door right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, you can do it now.
So the kid over there is touching stuff, picking stuff up.
What's up, fellas? How you doing? Put that down. Thanks. What can I do for you? I was wondering if you had a few books that you can get on. I don't have any cash on me. I'm sorry. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Got my lighter back. I saw the camera. I need the lighter back. Put the lighter back in my hand right now. Get the f*** off my lawn. You ain't gonna talk crazy. Come up to my house, ask me for money, and steal my shit. Go away.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
The kid comes, he's a lighter on the porch, takes it, and then they're asking for money, got no shirt on. Get the fuck away.
Yeah. You gotta start demanding, bring it back now. Otherwise, the kids will just walk all over you.
And then that's like the energy of a dad.
Yeah.
You know? Where you're like disciplined, right is right, correct it right now. I don't care how your pride feels. Put the lighter back in my hand. Yeah. And those kids probably don't have a dad. Yeah. And that's why they're not, unfortunately, able to act in society correctly. Mm-hmm. And when they keep doing bad stuff, when they're kids who aren't dealt with, they'll eventually grow and evolve into people who run a McDonald's trap house.
This is their future. They take over a little corner of McDonald's and do braids and shit.
You're smoking blunts at McDonald's. You're getting your hair braided. You got
a giant bag of weed.
Huge bag of weed. Probably some guns. You just take over a local McDonald's. Shit.
And nobody comes. Nobody stops.
Nobody comes. No one stops you. Well, don't get too down or too depressed. We're moving on to uplifting gold, and we have some actually uplifting stuff today.
Okay.
Our first clip. You know that singer Hardy?
Yeah, I've heard of him. I don't really know much about him.
I don't know much about him either. I could probably recognize a song or two if it was played for me. But listen to what he says about people who disrespect America.
Especially this year with all the crazy shit going on, I see a lot of people posting and talking shit about living in the United States of America and being a United States citizen. And to that I say, fuck you. If you don't like living here, you fucking go live somewhere else, motherfucker.
Good. I like to see it.
He's kind of a rap boy type, in a way.
I was going to say he kind of has a fleckus body.
Well, yeah, body, maybe. He's one standard deviation away from me, though.
And he's similar to me.
Okay.
Like a fleckus body with a rap boy head.
I was going to say glasses, hair, whatever, closer to me.
I just looked at that body.
You can have him. You can have him, though, if you want.
I was looking at the body and kind of how he was moving, and I was like, I bet I kind of look like that in a big jersey on stage. Maybe my legs are a little thicker and stronger.
Oh, all right.
Let's not get carried away. We're running out of time. Next is this guy who made a song about work and how more realistic this version is.
Working 9 to 10, then going to the bathroom. Working 10:30 to 11:45, then going to the bathroom. Then right before lunch, we do another bathroom. Then we go to the bathroom right after we get back from lunch. Working 2 to 3, then going to the bathroom. Working 3:30 to 4:30, then doing another bathroom. Then right before we leave, we go to the bathroom. If you question my bathroom breaks, I will see you in court.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
That's true.
He's got bits.
I used to have a finance job, as some of you guys know, where I worked like a Wall Street job in New York City.
Yeah.
A long time ago. And I was like the king of the busy face. So I'd always be at my computer and I'd be like,
better get up and start fast walking to the bathroom.
And I'd fast walk and I would go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I was hang out. Or I'd fast walk and then meet my friend downstairs and we get an egg sandwich. But it would always be like,
got the egg sandwich at 10:30.
I gotta go get a fucking sausage, egg, and cheese. I'll be right back. Can you watch the phone? I'll be right back. And I would go and drink a coffee. It was sick. It was sick.
All right,
It was fun. All right, next is the guy who does this crazy trick shot.
Check this out. Dude, I'm kicking the ball off the side of the house. I gotta bank it off of this first goal into the second goal. Into this one.
Just straight to the window.
You know why he was cursed? He called the hoops goals.
That'll do it.
People who do that, they deserve to break the window. So
yeah, good point. Japanese banjo team. You know, I like
this. She walks to the corner down to the river. I guess she'll let go for one is out. She took off loud, tapping my boy, could you have now let me cry like so that
You know, I like that.
I like Japan.
I'm working on maybe signing these people as clients.
Okay, good.
And that's assimilation too.
Assimilation? Oh yeah.
That's assimilating.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Are they in America or what?
I don't know.
Okay. I think that's probably just in Japan.
Yeah, that's a good.
Japan,
point.
we have some very funny similarities with. Like they really like whiskey. I respect the Japanese.
Me too. But don't show them this next clip or else they might get the hot pot going. Look how fast this thing strikes the crab. That's why I had to show it. This is insane.
Snapping turtle. Yeah.
See how fast that was?
Chop his head off. They wait. They get the Asians, and it's not even Japanese. It's probably different types of Asian. Mainland China. They get the turtle to snap, and then when his neck's extended, then they make turtle soup.
Mm-hmm. They eat them.
Yeah.
They eat all kinds of bait.
They used to do turtle soup in America, but it got phased out.
That's too bad. All right, our last clip. This is uplifting, and this should be white pilling for people. Turning Point had an event where they're signing people up to register to vote. Look.
Are you registered to vote?
This is at Arizona State, I believe. And Arizona's up for grabs. Swing state.
Giving out MAGA hats.
All right, love to see it. All right, another Flex Talks in the books. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. FlexTalks.com for 30-minute bonus land dropping right now. It's a really good one of our strongest yet. Really strong script. We have so much stuff we didn't get to because we had missed the hurricane episode.
Yep.
So bonus land is going to be packed. Excited to see you guys there. Join the community. Rap Boy?
We'll see you there. Yeah, it will be packed. We survived the hurricane unscathed. So I think we're going to get into our hurricane stuff a little bit more too in there.
Yeah.
And probably even some of our hurricane bits.
Yeah.
We got a good one with debris.
Oh, yeah. Let's just say it now.
So, go ahead.
It's a little late in the show to be dropping something so golden, but, you know, it has to be on the record. So during the hurricane, I was, taking, hurricane notes of, things that I thought were funny or profound or really great bits.
Yeah.
And you know how sometimes black people have unique names like DeBrickashaw?
Yeah, Devontae.
LaDamian.
Yeah, LaQuisha.
I thought of one. Debris.
Yeah, we were looking at the hurricane debris, and then it's like debris.
Like brie, like B-R-I.
Yeah.
And then D''B-R-I, debris.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
It's like, hey, who's that girl who does nails out of her grandmama house? Oh, debris?
Oh, that's debris.
Yeah.
Look at lasagna over here. Lasagna.
But then duh is more masculine. Then we realized that duh, like DeBrickashaw, Devontae, Aaron, or whatever. Duh is more masculine, and then the feminine is la, like la, Fonda, LaQuisha, whatever. So they kind of do have a masculine and feminine prefix.
I don't think they follow it every time.
They don't. They certainly don't.
Debris works.
So debris, yeah.
And then debris, DEBRIS.
Oh, you hear about debris? She got arrested for EBT fraud.
It's like, yo, did you hear about debris?
2 years in counting.
Yeah, you hear about debris? It came in with all of the flooding, and now there's debris everywhere in the yard. All right, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in bonus land.